Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to Soul Good. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a blessing and pleasure to be here with you today. Please do trust that whenever you've found yourself here, there are likely to be messages within the contents of this video for you. Please do use your discernment. Do not take anything that doesn't resonate with you. Don't make anything your story that isn't. Leave it for someone else. Before we dive in, I just want to share with you a couple of things that I had coming in that may be some confirmation for you. Lavender may be significant. Tea could be significant. I felt called to drink a cup of chamomile lavender tea before coming in. So you could also be someone who's dealing with a little bit of tension, maybe even a bit of anxiety. You may be seeking different means of relaxation, things to kind of ground you, more holistic ways of doing that. That could be significant. I'm also getting the number 222, and the way that it's coming through is actually really highlighting duality. So you could be someone who is witnessing a lot of duality either within yourself or within your external reality. I also was picking up some energy of things falling into place or pieces coming together, in which it seems as though this could be something where it's sparking some aha or epiphany, really making things make sense, or at the very least giving this lead that things are starting to make sense. I also got a message of the wheel turning. So you may be feeling as though things are shifting. You may be feeling that, I actually just heard the winds are changing. Take that how it resonates. It is actually quite windy in my neck of the woods today. It's also raining. And so there is this cleansing energy about that could be significant. I also got the word wisdom. I just feel as though you could be someone who, the way that I'm getting it is almost like you could be someone who has gotten your scars, or you've earned your stripes and have acquired a certain level of wisdom through struggle, through challenge, through pain. It hasn't come for free, right? This has come at a cost, this level of wisdom that you may find yourself at. And I want to be very clear here, because knowledge and wisdom are two totally different things. You could be someone who might say, I've had to learn things the hard way. You may feel as though you haven't been given a free pass or the easy road, things of that nature. Okay, but let's dive in and see what would like to come through. I'm very curious as to why I'm sitting here, so let's take a look. So I've actually just got something quite funny. I actually was hearing the theme song to Reading Rainbow. So, you know, take a look, it's in a book, right? Reading Rainbow could be significant. Books could be significant. That could be additional confirmation. You could be someone who has been spending a lot of time with your head in a book, I'm hearing. There is this accumulation of knowledge coming through as well. So you could be studying something very specific, but again, you know, take it as it resonates with you. Let's see what else would like to come through. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Christ, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, tell us please what messages would like to come through today. thank you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you. Interesting. Bottom of the deck is perspective. None of this matters. Zoom out, common ground. But the way that it's shown up is actually in the reverse position. I don't typically read these cards in the reverse, but there's something here that is perhaps bringing to your attention the need for a shift in perspective. You may be looking at something too close, or you may be too close to something to really be seeing what you're supposed to be seeing, especially if this is something painful or something that you find challenging. So stepping back a bit could be helpful. Shifting your perspective, playing the observer, removing yourself from the emotion of it, though easier said than done, may be something that could be helpful for you. Okay, so the first card we have here is Fall into My Arms, Surrender, holding the opposites, extremes of life. Fascinating, considering that I did pick up on that 222 energy and it came through as duality. And when we have multiples of that same number, it came through as this more, let's say, extreme or intensified energy, you know, duality being intense or extreme. And here we have, you know, holding the opposites, extremes of life. Again, you could be very close to something and are being asked to surrender, are being asked to let the pendulum swing, as it were, to not try to control things. I'm getting. Interestingly, you could also be someone who maybe needs a bit of time to yourself. There are a lot of figures in this card which look like people. Oh, okay, thank you. I'm getting boundaries. I don't know if you can see that, but there are a lot of figures that look like people, but they're not solid. And it feels as though there could be too many cooks in the kitchen, too many influences on your energy, too many influences on your thoughts and your emotions, and perhaps stepping back from that, giving yourself some time could be helpful. Let's see what else we have here. The golden children, inner child, tenderness, innocence, rare gifts. You could be someone who is trying to navigate parenthood, is trying to, I'm hearing, level with your children, trying to meet them. It may be very challenging. There's a lot of chaotic energy about, and even though your children or child may not be aware of what is going on, they can still pick up on the energy and still be impacted by it. So that could be significant. And I just want to say that this doesn't necessarily have to be applicable to young children. These could be adult children as well. I'm drawn to the fact that this says inner child, and we do have here what appears to be or looks to be like a mother holding a child. I don't know if you're able to see that in the card here. So this could have a lot to do with nursing your own inner child. You could have had your innocence taken from you. You could have been forced to grow up very quickly and weren't allowed the opportunity to nourish or nurture the gifts that you were born with. or certain talents and gifts that you felt called toward. I'm hearing you may have been robbed of your childhood. This may be an opportunity for you to give to your inner child what you were not given before. In addition to that, there's also a message here of, if you are someone who experienced a lack of nurturing, a lack of tenderness, if you had to grow up very quickly, it's reminding yourself that that could be something that was passed down the line. And I mean, oh my gosh, I'm feeling your heart. I know that may be very, very hard to hear. We can only make decisions with what we know. And so forgive yourself for not knowing. As someone who has had to go through this myself, I can tell you this is no easy task, but it is a necessary one. It is an incredible act of love. So it's reminding yourself not to pass it on any more than it may have already been. And to give them that tenderness, to nurture their inner child, to allow their gifts to shine, again, regardless of how old they are. Giving them a safe space, giving yourself a safe space to be who you are. And child of the cosmos, the intelligence of the universe lies within you. I think one of the things we're going to bear witness to in the future, especially as we move forward, is that the whole concept, the whole paradigm of I'm older than you, therefore I know more, I feel like that's going to die. I feel like it is dying already. Just because someone has lived longer does not necessarily mean they are wiser. And I feel as though this is something that is really, really beginning to become very, very clear. This could be an opportunity for you, especially if you are someone who has children. This could be an opportunity for you to allow their wisdom to shine, allow their wisdom to come through. Set your ego aside and allow them to share with you their own wisdom. Children are incredibly, incredibly intelligent. But apart from that, if you, let's say, do not have children, this feels as though it's about tapping in to yourself, tapping into the intelligence within you, tapping into Christ within you. There is a recurring theme with all three of these cards of children or the inner child. And so this is an opportunity for you to open up to that within yourself. I'm hearing, if you're someone who has struggled with that, if you are someone who grew up very quickly, or for whatever reason did not get to experience childhood in a way that was tender and loving and nurturing, it is time to trust yourself. It is time to open up to knowing more than what you think you do. I'm getting a feeling that you could be someone who was often shushed or often, told to be quiet, that anytime you tried to express a opinion about something, to share knowledge about something or an intuition about something. You were told you're wrong. You were told to be quiet. You were told to shut your mouth. You were told to go away, something of that nature. And it really feels as though this is about giving yourself a voice. It's about showing up for yourself, advocating for yourself. Other messages, please. Okay. Thank you. Fall could be significant. You could have a birthday or significant event in the fall, or there could have been something that happened in the fall. Lemuria creating heaven on earth, it's happening. I've just seen the number 111. This card is giving me that surrender energy. It's giving me non-resistance. It's giving me the need to allow yourself to be. Water energy is coming in quite heavily. You could be a water sign. You could also be someone who has struggled with your emotions. There's this rocky terrain here. But the thing about rock or anything else is that over time it is worn away by water, especially if that water's flowing. And there's a feeling of no matter how hard you try to be, no matter how resistant you try to be, no matter how impenetrable you try to be when it comes to your emotions, eventually the water wins. How you feel wins. Resistance to that only creates more pain and suffering and struggle. So with creating heaven on earth, it's happening. The part that stands out the most is it's happening. Whether you want it to or not, the things that you hold within you, the way that you feel, they are a big part of what makes you you. And it's coming through as either you can address the depths of yourself, or you can be controlled by it from the background. It's bringing to mind a quote by the psychologist Carl Jung, which I use a lot actually, and that is, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And the reason that is coming through is because there are things that may have been buried, things that may have been pushed aside, ignored, that want to be felt, that want to be experienced. And the longer those things are ignored, the longer those things are buried, the more power they have over you. And heaven is not somewhere out there in the sky, in the clouds and the stars, though it's beautiful to look at. Heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And if you are someone who is resistant to what you've experienced, if you're resistant to how you feel or what you need to feel, that is going to create an imbalance. It's going to impact your ability to experience heaven on earth. And we have Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. I've just seen the number 555. You may have been encouraged to make certain changes, drastic changes. You may be someone who has actually had some of these things popping up in your reality, rearing their ugly head, which, if that's true, it's a sign for you to face them in whatever way is best for you, however that may look for you. I'm very drawn to this more sandy looking landscape here. You can see it there towards the top of the card where that figure is. It looks like sand, and I'm hearing sands of time, as though you are meant to travel the sands of time through your life and to allow yourself to experience whatever it is you need to, that you are not afforded the opportunity to do before. We have to feel things in order to deal with them and to ultimately heal them. And so things may feel at present like things may feel a little bit chaotic. The reason I say that is because there's so much going on in this card. There are stairs, there's sand, there's what appears to be clouds, water. I mean, there's mountains. There's a whole lot going on here. And it really does feel as though there's something that's wanting to unfold in order to bring more harmony. There's something that is trying to be brought to the surface so that it doesn't cause this chaos, so that things don't feel as chaotic. And it's interesting, as we're talking about this, my eyes drawn to, surrender, extremes of life. Sometimes we have to deal with the things that are uncomfortable in order to experience true joy, true fulfillment. Bottom of the deck here is yes. Just say yes. Now, I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to insinuate that this would be easy. I'm not trying to imply that this would be a walk in the park. I don't feel like that's true. But I do feel like this is giving you an opportunity to become the alchemist and to allow yourself to heal these things, to work on healing these things, and to then experience life in a very different way. Because the reality of it is, anything that we're carrying around, it's like the puppet master in the background. It influences how we perceive the world, how we perceive ourselves, how we move in the world, what we think, how it really can impact every area of our lives. And if we give ourselves the opportunity to be freed from that, then we can experience life in a very different way. What else would like to come through, please? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I do feel like the things that are coming up, the things that you are seeing repeated, certain maybe even experiences you're seeing repeated, I feel as though that is you being divinely guided to surrender, to deal with that in whatever way is needed in order for you to create that heaven on earth. Or, if you will, the kingdom of heaven within you. So we start off here with strength in the reverse. It's Leo energy. That could be significant for you. The way that this is coming through is addressing the amount of courage that it takes to actually allow yourself to feel what it is you need to feel. Because it does. It takes a tremendous amount of strength. This is reminding you that strength and courage comes from within, that it can't be found outside of yourself, that it has to come from within you. There's also a message here of trusting your own heart, because the strength card in the reverse can be a card of doubt. And I'm very drawn to that heart necklace that she has on. So I do feel like it's about trusting your own heart. Trusting that you have the strength, that you have the courage, that you can make it through. With the Lamb on the card as well, it's reminding me that you're never alone. For some of you, you could have a stronger connection to Christ, and that could be significant for you. That could be a powerful force for you to lean on. We also have here the Four of Cups. Yeah, I mean, this is a card of disconnection. It's a card of apathy, the need to go inward, the need to be introspective. And she happens to be looking at the Strength card. It could be the fear of facing those things. Perhaps you felt as though there are certain things that you've experienced that you would never be able to heal or work through, or perhaps you even thought you could just push them down and would never have to look at them again. Or had hoped that that'd be the case. Interesting that there's this rainbow coming out here after getting the Reading Rainbow theme song. There's something about trusting that you will be brought to the other side of whatever this is for you, should you choose to actually delve into it. 8 of Wands. This is a faster moving energy with the 8 of Wands. I actually refer to it often as my Harry Potter card. Because things tend to happen very quickly as if by magic, or they can. I'm drawn to the fact that there are 2 8s here as well, so the number 8 could be significant. But there is this energy of, if she would just look, if she would just open herself up to the opportunities in front of her, the opportunity to face these things, then things could begin to move a lot faster. Interesting that I felt called to speak on Harry Potter, this being more of my Harry Potter card, because we have rare gifts, you know, as if by magic. Perhaps that's something that you have at some point stopped believing in, that there's a feeling of being very caught up in the physical world. Perhaps you've struggled to believe in miracles, or to believe in healing, or to believe in anything that isn't tangible, anything that you can't touch with your hands or see with your eyes. Perhaps you've lost that childlike wonder. Which could be a result of having to grow up too quickly, of course. This could be a call for you to tap into that, to tap into your imagination, to tap into a more childlike wonder. Nine of Cups. Hello. This is true joy. It's a card of satisfaction. 9 is also a number of attainment, fulfillment, nearing completion. Yeah, it feels like igniting that childlike view of the world, experiencing the world through those childlike eyes. Now, I'm not encouraging you to be childish. I mean, maybe I am a little bit. Okay, I'm not encouraging you to be immature. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm rather saying that, especially if you were someone who did not have the opportunity to be a child when you were a child, the answer to experiencing fulfillment and satisfaction and joy could be to tune into that more childlike wonder, to see the world through different eyes. We have perspective shift here, right? To experience things a bit more lightly, let's say. And the 9 of Wands. So again, the number 9 could be significant. We have 8899. Again, nearing completion. The 9 of Wands is a card of not giving up, essentially, not backing down, refusing to back down, holding the line, as it were. And the message that's coming through here strongly is to not give up on yourself, to stand firm and stand strong, to remind yourself that you deserve to experience a life that is full, a life that is satisfactory. I'm not saying that everything's going to be perfect or that you won't ever experience a hardship or challenge, but without those things, we don't grow. Without those things, we don't evolve, and therefore our life can't truly be full. But that's not to say that life is only struggle, that it is only challenge. The Nine of Wands is asking you to push beyond your perceived limitations, your perceived beliefs, and to remain open to what is possible. And it's looking at the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups, again, is true joy, satisfaction. It can also be a card of your manifestations being granted or your manifestations appearing. And it really feels as though she's looking at that Nine of Cups as if to say, remain open to this being possible. Remain open to magic, if you will. Remain open to miracles. Remain open to the possibility that this could be something that you experience. Yeah, bottom of the deck is the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is asking to leave behind what once was, to free your mind of the baggage and trauma and things that you've been carrying around. Another interesting thing is that she doesn't have an oar. She has birds that are pulling her boat. And so it's trusting that you're going to end up where you need to be. Okay, final messages, please. Thank you. All right. First card out here is 4th house, family roots foundation. Interesting that we talked about, with family or children and perhaps childhood, but we have roots and foundation, which of course, as we all know, the way that we grow up, our childhood does lay the foundation for who we become as adults. And this is an opportunity for you to shift that, to tear down anything that isn't serving you and to start building again from a new foundation, one that is much stronger, one that is not rooted in trauma and pain and struggle and suffering. That's not to say that those things will just disappear. That's not to say that you'll just forget about what you experienced or that you should. But it is to say that you can instead take the wisdom from those experiences and use them as you build this new foundation. It is to say you can take what you've learned and move forward differently. So we also have Saturn, discipline, obstacles, boundaries. I did say boundaries. I do feel like there are some things that we have to face on our own so that we can recognize our own strength so that we can recognize our ability to do so. And that does seem to be coming through quite heavily here. Saturn is also, from a different perspective, a planet of limitation, restriction. And it's interesting that my eyes drawn to the Four of Cups as I speak about that, because it's that disconnection from self, that disconnection from spirit, that disconnection from truth that I feel creates far more restrictions and limitations than what we actually realize until we start to break free from them. Something about Saturn is it does have this thread of you've got to work for it. You've got to earn it. And I don't mean that in a physical sense. Yes, that could be true, but the way that this is coming through is you've got to work for your own freedom. You've got to work for your own liberation. You've got to work through whatever it is that may be creating that limitation, that may be creating that restriction. We also have Pisces, psychic, intuitive, dreamy. Interesting again, you know, rare gifts, Harry Potter 8 of Wands card, and this psychic, intuitive, dreamy energy. You could certainly be a Pisces or have Pisces in your chart. You could also be someone who maybe is a bit fearful of your own rare gifts, your own magical gifts, if that's what you'd like to call them. You could absolutely be someone who experienced more of this psychic or intuitive type of ability as a child, and you may have pushed it away. You may have for some reason or another become very fearful of it. Perhaps you were taught that it's something to be feared. But any area in which you reject who you truly are, in which you reject what you're capable of, in which you reject your gifts or your talents or your intelligence, anything, any area that you reject yourself, you're going to experience disharmony, you're going to experience imbalance, you're going to experience this struggle. This could be the key. This could be the thing that breaks down some of these barriers, that frees you from some of this more restrictive or limited energy. Another thing with Piscean energy is it's very imaginative. So if you don't resonate with being intuitive or psychic or anything like that, this could just be that you may have pushed down or denied or rejected your more imaginative, creative self. Maybe you're someone who has wanted to write a book or is very good with your hands, very crafty, something of that nature, and perhaps you've shoved it aside for work or whatever is more adult or practical or whatever it may be. And if so, this could be the key to experiencing life in a very different way, letting your imagination free, letting your creativity be set free, allowing yourself to be who you are and to embrace what is within you that's just wanting to get out, wanting to be shared with others. Finally, we have Taurus. Yeah, tactile, grounded, stable. You could also be a Taurus or have Taurus in your chart somewhere. The thing about this Taurus energy coming through, though, that's kind of funny to me, of course, is that, you know, it's this more grounded, practical energy, right? And we were just talking about that. So I think it's kind of comical that it would show up. There's something here as well about a fear, perhaps, or a hesitancy to tap into this more imaginative, more creative, maybe even more psychic or intuitive energy, this more mystical aspect of yourself, out of the fear of being perceived as not being stable, or perhaps there's a fear of losing what you would call your stability should you pursue a path that is less practical. There's almost a feeling of, what if I pursue this more mystical path, this more creative, imaginative path, whatever it may be for you, and I end up getting the horns, right? Like I end up getting hurt. I end up jeopardizing my stability. Like I'm worried about not being practical. I'm worried about not being stable, when you can actually be very grounded and creative at the same time. You can be very imaginative and grounded at the same time. You can be very grounded and mystical at the same time. There's actually something out there called spiritual science. A lot of what is coming through here is asking for you to step a little bit outside of what you've known thus far, what has made sense thus far, what seems normal and practical and all of those sorts of things, and to delve inward, to delve more into your own soul, your own spirit, your feelings. And I do feel like this could be opening a new door for you. Funny, bottom of the astral alignment cards, water, refreshing, mysterious, fluid. Funny that we would start with fall into my arms, surrender, and we would have this water energy being fluid and mysterious, right? Holding the opposites, extremes of life. It's surrendering to things being what they are, letting life surprise you, letting life carry you in directions maybe you wouldn't have chosen for yourself if you were thinking practically and logically about them, but are where you need to be nonetheless. Very, very interesting. Again, you could be a water sign for sure. We have Cancer energy with the 4th house, Pisces, and again, this water energy here, plus the 2 cups showing up. Certainly could be a water sign, but if not, it really is just a call to tap into yourself more deeply, to flow with yourself, to experience your emotions, your spirit, and to give yourself an opportunity to maybe heal some aspects of yourself that you didn't have the opportunity to before. To be compassionate and forgiving and tender and nurturing toward yourself, showing up for yourself in a very powerful way. I pray that this has been helpful for you in some way, shape, or form, that you've found it valuable, that it's provided confirmation or clarity in some way. I want to thank you so, so much for being here. Again, it's been a joy to be here with you. Take care of your growing, evolving, ever learning, wise, beautiful soul. Peace be with you and within you. And I hope to see you in another chat. Bye.